No black cats, just straight facts.
Triple P certified.
Listen, we can talk about odds all day. It doesn't matter what the odds are. It matters what's gonna happen.
Welcome to the Perfect Parlay Pursuit. It is I, Lukey CK, joined by the Euro Under King, Alex. Dan is on sick leave today, but as you know, it is a break week anyway, so we're here bringing you the ultra early predictions. To make up for Dan's absence, I say me and Alex give you our whole card, top to bottom, main card and prelims. Our first thoughts, our ultra early predictions. We'll be back on Monday with the Patreon exclusive picks, and Lord knows you want to join that Patreon because guess what? 8 out of 8 Triple P certified picks have won in year 3. We are moving on to event number 3, but the first 2 events have been utterly flawless. Alex, I got to stop talking and pull up your bet slip from last weekend to show the people what you won, but take us through how you are feeling.
I'm feeling terrific. 2 weekends in a row with almost similar payouts. This time I had to put my nuts on the table a little bit more, but I had less fights and I was on the edge of my seat for a lot less of the fights. I mean, I've been killing it lately, people, and those ones are a little old now.
So that's a $20 bet to pay, $581?
Yes, sir.
That was the first event of year 3. So if you're tailing Alex's picks so far, you're up quite a bit moving into last weekend. And then Alex was able to cash again. That was a, $50 bet to pay $545?
Yeah. So, I didn't have to bet on nearly as many picks for this week because I was in such a good situation for my winnings of last week. On top of all the MMA winnings, I've been killing every other sport. I'm the god of the ice out here. Every hockey game, I've called the correct person to win every single hockey game. Yeah, I haven't won every one of my bets because sometimes I get a little greedy. I go for the spread. I've only lost 1 or 2 hockey bets, but I've been pulling in the money, ladies and gentlemen. Keep giving me underdog odds on the 2-time Stanley Cup winning Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm going to keep cashing out. And I've been a beast in basketball too. I've won probably $1,500 to $1,800 this week. It would be a lot more, but I'm a sucker for blackjack. You know what I mean? I love to play a little blackjack, live dealer. And it's all winnings. So I'm just out here having fun. Sometimes I win, sometimes I lose, but I've been doing a lot of winning lately, especially in the sports, and the UFC was no different. And hopefully no different again today because there's still hockey and there's still basketball going on.
Yeah, I'm not going to take part in gambling outside of the UFC at this moment, but I've been too hot these past couple weekends. So as you guys know, 8 out of 11 the first weekend back, year 3. Alexander Rakic, he fucked up his ACL. That prevented us from about $3,000 worth of profits that night. We had $2,000 of cash outs on the table. If you were tailing me, maybe you took it. I did not. I thought Alexander Rakic was going to win that fight. And I didn't know his ACL was going to explode on him. So that's the second time in my career. Can I see it? Let me see. Sorry, I'm about to pull up. 4-1.
Oh, wait, that's not today. That's not today. Jeez, dude, I just got so excited. Sunday.
Yeah, Monday. Okay.
The Lightning game hasn't started yet. I had Tuesday up. I was like, dude, the Tampa Bay Lightning closed out the series already. I knew something was awry when I saw they were only up 1-0. My mistake.
Okay. Well, I'm going to pull up the results. Those were Alex's results the last 2 weekends, and I just told you, I went 8 out of 11 with several parlays last weekend, still active. This week, we went can you see my screen, Alex?
Yeah, perfectly fine.
Okay, cool. So this is the totals for year 3 so far. Alex and I are tied at 17 out of 22 correct picks. Triple P certified picks are 8 out of 8. We had back-to-back perfect parlay weekends where if you bet them as a parlay, you would have hit it both weekends in a row now. We had shout out to someone in the comments. I believe it was Jerry, right, Alex? He said that he joined the Patreon. He put a $10 bet on the perfect parlay pursuit parlay, and now has enough to pay for it for the full year. Well, now he did it again. There you go, Gerald. You got it.
And he was skeptical of us at first.
Well, he was, he's been a long-time fan, and when it was really the only episode he got a little, he criticized us because you were, in a car and using very poor audio, and it was unwatchable. And I agree with him, Gerald. It was unwatchable. So Alex needs to get his act together and, be at the desk when it's time to work. That being said, let's just look at the results. So, I went 9 out of 11. But the way my bets went, I actually would have benefited from having Holly Holm win. So if you tailed me in the Patreon, I had, this parlay blew up when Colares lost. And as the guys last week, they told me not to switch and pick Hooper. I did. I didn't tell them, but I switched later in the week and I put Hooper in all my parlays besides the 11-fight parlay. And I switched. I didn't tell those boys. I also switched Morales to Medic. I didn't tell those boys that either. Both parlays had Medic in it. But the ones that we won, so I bet the Triple P, $10 for 60. So at this point, back-to-back weekends, you would have bet $10 to win about 90, and then you would have bet $10 to, 10 for 94 the first weekend of the year, 10 for 60 second weekend. So that covers your ass throughout, the other bets you're going to make. I hit this one, Martinez, Holmes, Park, Chidi, and Pereira. That was a $20 bet to pay $174. 5-fight parlay. I hit this 8-fight parlay. That was the one I made after I did the show, where I even wrote here alt universe. I mean, that's my alternate universe parlay. Like, all right, here's what I think's gonna happen, but here's where I could be wrong, basically. We crushed with Hughes. Knew that was gonna be the case. Elise Reed is a white belt. We said this. I told Dan he was a moron. Hooper, you got the win. And listen. I said I could beat Chase Hooper in a fight. I think after last weekend, that's proven true still, because he did not look good in that fight. He looked like garbage. He's always sacrificing position, going for these submissions that, he needs to get to that third round to get these finishes. Sometimes as a bettor, he keeps you on the edge of your seat. That's for sure. But not impressed with his skill. You end up in some of those spots with me on top. It ain't going to be like with Corrales, Chase. It's going to be bad. So, Alex, what do you think? You're a position over submission guy.
I'm a huge position over submission guy, and I put it out in the Discord.
Leg locks don't work. You go for my leg, I'm going to let you break it. All right? I'm going to let you break it, and I'm going to be punching you in the head. And I think Chase is always –
I think the biggest problem with Chase –
he goes Berimbolo in an MMA.
The big problem with his game in that fight specifically was he had the back, and he kept – losing the back, going for arm bars. I think that is the worst technique you can do in an MMA fight or in a regular fight, unless somebody is wearing a sweater, like the gi or something. That arm bar from the back, it's tough to get. You have nothing really to grab onto. You don't have a lot of anchors there. So I really hate that move. Chase Hooper has done it numerous times in that fight, and I texted the Discord in the second round. At the end of the second round, I knew Chase Hooper won at least one of the rounds. I wasn't positive about the second round, but all I could think was, if this guy loses the back going for that arm bar one more time, I'm throwing something through my TV. I won't be able to handle it if my parlays lose because Chase Hooper doesn't know position over submission. The first thing they tell you in jiu-jitsu, besides how to get up, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah. So, and I feel like I'm burying the lead a little bit here because, we're talking about a parlay, folks, that it's an 8-fight parlay. It's a $10 bet to pay $1,283. So I think that maybe we buried the lead a little bit, and some congratulations, some, just a little bit of, pat on the back, star in order, some golf claps, because we did it. We did a lunch money to rent money parlay. It was posted in the Patreon. If you're tailing me in the Patreon, not only did you hit the break even parlay, which is the Triple P certified one, but you also hit this nice little 8-fight parlay. Not the first time we've done it this calendar year, the lunch money to rent money style parlay victory. So congratulations to everybody in the Patreon. We'll go through what we were thinking piece by piece.
In the Discord, because they got all those picks.
Exactly. So join the Patreon, and so moving on from Hooper, we had Jonathan Martinez, who had a very professional fight and did a great job avoiding Vince Morales's power, avoiding getting taken down. I think that from a betting perspective, I love Jonathan Martinez. I think he's kind of redeemed himself from some of the ups and downs he's had earlier in his career, but I like him. I thought he fought a very smart fight. I like that Mark Montoya is in his ear. I think Martinez is going to do big things.
Yeah, that was a great fight. That was the one I was the least nervous about out of all of my bets for the night. As you could see, I had the five pick parlay: Ugly Man Holmes, Tabitha Ricci, Jung Young Park, Michelle Pereira, and Jonathan Martinez. Jonathan Martinez was the safest pick. And the betting line reflected it. He was a minus 220 favorite when I took him. Granted, I took these odds early in the week. If you tailed my picks, you had these picks on Tuesday. I made all these bets on Tuesday. I was winning a lot of money. I was like, okay, I want to put my nuts on the table, take my 5 best picks, want to win at least $500 again this weekend. And I did it. And Jonathan Martinez was a huge part of that. Couldn't be more thankful for his performance. He went out there and did what we all thought he could do. Vince Morales is nothing, and that's how he should be dealt with from a guy like Jonathan Martinez. Vince can probably beat a few people in the UFC, but not Jonathan Martinez, not on this day.
And as you see, I had Martinez in every single bet that I made. So I guess even though when Alex said that, I was like, I don't know if I was that confident, but I guess I was, because he was a parlay pillar. He was an absolute staple of every parlay. I believed in his camp. I believed in him as a fighter. I believed in his reach. I believed that I believed Vince Morales wasn't going to go for the takedown. And once we did that deep dive last week where Dan pulled up Idaho, I think is where Vince Morales is a state champion from. We pulled it up, and it was like they're not competitive at the collegiate level. They're not competitive in the NCAAs. And we're like, okay, it doesn't really mean as much. Martinez is going to be able to defend the takedown. He did. Kept him on the end of the jab. Fought a very professional fight. Pitched a shutout in my view. And So Hughes, Hooper, Martinez. At this point, I'm thinking a lot of my biggest battles are behind me. As you see, I had Morales in the original parlay. That one blew up because of Colares. But I had this one right here without Medic or Morales. So I was like, okay, if Medic wins, great. If he loses, at least this one is still alive. So Medic wins. Beautiful knockout. A lot of people said early stoppage. Alex, you said that. I didn't really think so.
I think if you're going to stop it in that type of situation, you have to stop it right away. If you're going to let the guy survive, recuperate, and then start having like a real guard. It's not like he was sitting there eating punches on the ground. He didn't eat a single punch. Granted, I think that might be because, was that Chris Taglioni?
I think it was the guy that was on Joe Rogan's podcast,
Mark Smith.
Yeah, I forget. I think, yeah.
But, I didn't necessarily like that stoppage too much. I thought it was Chris Taglioni who did another heinous crime during the fight earlier. He slapped Sam Page right on the buttocks during the fight and told her to get her hands out of the cage. I thought if you're going to slap anybody's butt all night, you might as well do it during the Poliana Tabitha Ricci fight.
If you're a ref, you better hope that you are known for your look. Long mustache ref. Tall bald ref,
huge dreadlocks
guy ref. That's best case scenario. That's best case scenario, because if you're known for things you do in there, you're not doing your job. The ref is supposed to be a ghost in there. The ref is supposed to not be something you have to think about or consider, except good stoppage. That's the only.
But I love Jason Herzog, and he doesn't have much of a look to him besides he's a little guy. He's a really little guy.
Yeah. But all right. I mean, I'm just saying, Taglioni, I liked him better when I said the Shrek-looking ref. Okay, when I said the ref that looks like Shrek, that's when I liked Taglioni. But when I have to start saying, oh, the ref that stopped the fight for the ball kick in the one time and then didn't stop the fight in the ball kick in the other time, there's all this lore about him now, and I don't like it. And he makes himself a little too. And also, I don't like any refs to do any sort of gray area, kind of discretionary talking to the fighters. I want them to be cold and efficient. I don't want them to be saying things like, I don't even want them to say good job or good fight. Don't even say that. If it's at the end of the fight, I can forgive it. But
you got to be bipartisan. Yeah.
But if you're saying like good work, gentlemen, or like stuff like that, like I don't like that. Don't say that. Stop getting in their head. You're not their coach. Also, like, Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so I digress. We got Almeida and Parker Porter. To be honest, it was one that I only put on the perfect parlay that I have to do every week. Just there's no value in that one. So unless you're gonna maybe even take him by finish, but he was only on the one that had already blown up, so I didn't really care. It was a fight I got to just sit back and enjoy. Anything you want to say about that one, Alex? I mean, Joseph Holmes doing the thing against Amidovsky. I got a little nervous when I saw Curtis Action Man. When I saw Action Man, Chris Curtis in the corner, I was a little nervous, but I really just kept going back to Holmes looked great against Nightwolf, Jamie Pickett. He's been active. Amidovsky, for whatever reason, hasn't been active. And if you're going to tell me that, Alex, it was two of the biggest statistical decisions that we had to side with Holmes on, right? He was 7 years younger than him, so that puts him in a 65% win category. And the guy was coming off a 2-year layoff, that puts him in a 33% win category. So I was like, okay, it would be irresponsible for me to take Amidovsky. It would be absolutely irresponsible.
Wait, I went 8 out of 11.
Why do you keep derailing the show?
I'm sorry.
I'm so hungover. I'm so hungover from celebrating all weekend. Guys, so we're going to get to how much we won and everything like that, but the gods smiled upon this weekend. It was my daughter's baptism, and we won money. We won enough money to pay for the catering. We won enough money to pay for the booze. We won enough money to have a really nice day with a lot of celebration in the air. Everyone coming together on a beautiful hot summer day, drinking beer, smoking stogies, having a great time. So it was, the gods were with us. The angels were with us. The guardian angels were with us. And thank you for being a part of it. If you were in the Patreon, Alex, you went 8 out of 11. I went 9 out of 11. You went 8 out of 11.
Oh.
You went 9 out of 11 last weekend. I went 8 out of 11 last weekend. That's why we're tied.
Okay.
So more clarification.
Totally my mistake. But you did go the medic fight, and that was the one that kind of like killed my big money parlays where I would have won like so much money, so much money. And that one was heartbreaking for me. But the ugly man came in loud and proud, dude. I loved it. My girlfriend was like, "You been on this guy with this goofy mustache? What are you doing? What are you doing, dude? Like, why do I trust you with anything ever? Why do I trust you with our funds? Why do I trust you with this? Why do I trust you with that?" I said, "Baby, the ugly man will cometh again." And at this time, actually, my friend was in a regional fight. Sadly, lost another decision, but it was a war. He went to war. It was an amazing fight. I loved watching it. He fought so well. Very proud of him. But the ugly man came.
That one. I don't know why. I don't think I ended up placing that one. I think it was this one that I changed it. Because I remember I was like, nah, I dropped Poliana off of it, I think. But yeah, this is the one that, so that's more accurate.
Why are you derailing me?
All right. Now we're even.
Okay, cool.
You didn't need to comment on that. I was just doing it.
I didn't comment on it. You did. You did as you did it.
True.
But the ugly man, beautiful performance. We all knew he would go out there and do it. This was kind of a serve-up job. We know he had bad circumstances in the last fight, and maybe they run that back. He wins that with a full camp because he came in on short notice. This was a classic. This person came in on short notice, got a bad deck dealt to them, and we aren't going to think too crazy because of their last performance event. And I kept that true through the whole thing, and Ugly Man was one of the main reasons I won money. Same.
As you saw, in the shared screen, I had him in every parlay, just like I had Martinez. He was triple certified pick. So, and it was the layoff and the age. Simple as that. Nothing personal against Amidovsky. I think, like Alex said, we can get him at some good underdog odds, and he's going to get a win in the UFC before all said and done. Speaking of triple certified picks and guys that I had in every single parlay, you talk about good bounces and bad bounces. This is a good bounce for us. I was not convinced that Jung Young Park was going to get the decision, but I did believe he won the fight, and I'll tell you why. He did get pushed up against the fence like Vieira did in the main event, and we'll talk about that. But he always had a really good technique of peeling and getting him off and firing back with offense. And that was leaving Anders looking very frustrated. His mouth was hanging open. Physically, he looked worse for wear. He looked like he was eating the shots worse. It looked like the shots were affecting him worse, right? That's what it comes down to, guys. Whether you like it or not, these fights are graded on a curve. So if you have a guy who is attempting one game plan And it is costing him so much energy that he's looking worse for wear throughout the 15 minutes at the end of each round. In all these moments throughout the rounds, when all things are equal, you look at both guys and you say, this guy seems to be the one who is exerting more energy for less gain. And that's what martial arts pretty much is. It's not about, who's trying hardest. And that's the thing. Eric Anders, Alex, you know this. College football mentality, like athletic mentality, that's going to get you very, very, very far. But at a certain point,
national champion too on the greatest college football program of all time.
But not in a combat sport. And at the end of the day, you see it in his fighting style, right? Like you see this drive, this push, like this kind of like outpointing, you know what I mean? In a lot of ways, shaving minutes, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, when Park was able to separate from him and statistically make those takedowns not mean as much, because think about it. If Anders went for 4 and got 4, he would have had 100% takedown accuracy throughout that fight. And it would have looked like every time he went for that, he got what he wanted. Instead, he got maybe 2, and he never kept him down.
Out of 20, he was like 17 for 20.
The judges didn't see a guy going and trying 20 times. They saw a guy failing 18. Yeah. That's what they saw. And they saw Jung Young Park succeeding 18 times. So Pavlovianly, we're getting our brains snapped to say Jung Young Park won that. Jung Young Park won that. Jung Young Park won that. He's doing what he wants to do. The other guy's not doing what he wants to do. And it's funny because I watched Chael Sonnen break down a video where he said that a judge told him backstage, like, well, I know that guy wanted to grapple. And so the fact that he couldn't get him down means he lost the round because I know what he wanted. He's like, first of all, what? Like, how do you know that? You don't know that. Like, that might not have been his strategy just because you think he's a grappler. And I completely agree with Chael, and it made perfect sense. And all that is completely fine. But I'm not talking about knowing a guy's background and saying, well, he is a grappler or he is a jiu-jitsu guy. I'm talking about what I'm seeing with my objective reality. I'm seeing what I'm seeing with my eyes, which is he's going for something and failing to obtain it and not doing any damage, even when in the very few times he did it.
I mean, but, there is something to be said about Eric Anders having that collision mindset where he's holding you up against the cage. And if you get a little bit of space in those first couple rounds, those first 8 minutes, 7 minutes of the fight, where he can literally hit you like a truck. You're trying to get out and shrimp away. And Iron Turtle, dude, we saw that shell. We saw that shell on full effect right there because he took some shots from Eric Anders. I thought Iron Turtle, it could be argued that he won all 3 rounds. But I thought that 2 of the rounds were a little closer than 1 of the rounds. I thought Iron Turtle definitely won the first round, no doubt. It was iffy in the second, a little closer, but Iron Turtle. And then the third round was the closest round of all. But I thought Iron Turtle definitely 10-9, 10-9. I thought it was 10-9 Iron Turtle, but my lying eyes deceive me all the time. So I wasn't as nervous about this fight as I was for the Michel Pereira decision. And that's one that I was very, very nervous for. Yeah. But I can't remember if it was this fight or the other fight where one of the fighters who lost got a 30-27, or maybe my fighter lost and the other fighter got a 30-27 that I thought was absolutely outrageous. And that judge should be burned at the stake for being a witch.
So, and I also just think if you look at the Holly Holm fight, that's more of a robbery in my opinion, because I think that she technically did a lot more with the fence holding than Anders did. I think that she actually was able to. I don't know what the actual.
But I don't think fence holding should be something that's looked down upon because they don't want to be there. They don't want to be there at all. Nobody wants their back up against the fence. And if you hold somebody's back up against the fence for half the round, they're fighting from behind at that point in time.
Well, but the thing is, Park really did a lot of his own good fence work, though. That's the difference. Is Vieira didn't really do a ton to like put Holm against the fence or to even really escape. A lot of times she was held there up until the end of the round, and that was what stopped her from still being held there. Or it was that Holly decided to start striking and doing offense. But there were many moments where Park spun him around, had that really great pry, that really great like hook where you hook the face and just kind of pry and turn. And from that, a boxer like Park could knock your ass out too. Like he could really like land some damaging like hooks and shit on the way, kind of like how DC knocked Stipe out with that kind of like. And
dude, he had an amazing fight. In my opinion, I thought that was a great performance from Jung Young Park. A lot of people said he wasn't active enough, but if we see how active he was in that last fight and he wasn't patient enough whatsoever, I love that fight for Jung Young Park. I didn't think it was as close as everybody said it was. I think without being in a small area like the Apex and hearing Paul Felder and DC ride this guy's dick just because he's the only one who's talked to him because he speaks English. Like, no, we don't need this like old
Also, I
boys
just think that everybody likes
club.
Eric. He's your boy.
I love Eric Anders. He's my boy. He's my boy as well.
You get guys like Felder, guys like DC. They want to see guys like Anders win because they like the story and they like who he is and the drive and the athleticism and the mentality and also
you need to be like as a commentator, dude. Like, this is the only sport where we will really see that very, very one-sided mindset from a certain commentator. Like, if you watch basketball or football or anything like that, you'll see guys who have played for whatever team is playing and really like harping on them hard and being very critical of their performance. But since it's not a judged sport, it's judged by what happens on the field and it's not subjective by judging. They aren't sitting here trying to like politician for their guy like during that game. And that happens all the time in MMA and I cannot stand it.
And I really think that like
the only person who's good at it is Joe Rogan because guys that he actually loves, like, Tony Ferguson, he will shit on them so hard that it makes me mad that he shits on them so hard. I'm like, come on, man. Like, you got to still talk to this guy. Like, if me and Joe Rogan were friends and he was sitting there shitting on me during my fight, I would be like, oh, bro, come on. I would be like Brendan Schaub right then and there. I'd be like, I had my moments, bro. Come on, like, chill.
No, he said a lot of guys have got mad at him. Like Rampage Jackson, apparently there was an article I think about him saying that like he would get upset. But yeah, it's like, I think some guys go a little the other way with it to try to like really assert a bias that way. But at the end of the day, Tony Ferguson hasn't done himself a lot of favors in some of these fights, and I think they did talk about him having a pretty good first round against Chandler. So I'll give everybody a pass there. But all right, we had Park Trophy certified. The next person was Tabitha Ricci, who they talked me into. I came into the podcast with a Viana mindset. Those two picked Ricci, and they pulled me over to Baby Shark. I thought Viana could really big sister her. And to be honest, when I saw the weigh-ins, I still thought the same thing. I was like, man, it was one of those things where I would see a Viana interview. I'm like, she's got this. I'd see a Ricci interview. I'm like, she's got this. So it was like I couldn't really decide. And the line told you that. It was a pick 'em pretty much all the way up to the end.
Baby Shark is hungry.
Baby Shark is hungry, and she got it done. So, I had Ricci in not only my Trophy certified parlay, but I didn't have her in, most of the ones that were big payouts, as you can see. So I didn't have to really care too much about the outcome of that one. But I always want the Trophy certified ones to succeed. So I didn't put any voodoo on, Ricci by turncoating and picking Viana, even though I told you guys I wouldn't do that with Hooper.
And this was a huge lock of the week for me. And coming off of being 100% on the ladies the week before made me very confident this week. I was only not confident about the other two fights, but as we've alluded to earlier, I think Holly Holm won that. Tabitha Ricci went out there, got it done, made it look easy. And if Viana doesn't want to stand up, sit there and kick her legs all day. You're scoring points right there. She's not doing anything. She looked good off her back in the first round, but like I said, if you have one of these ladies or gentlemen who have seen success in the guard from before, they're way more inclined to sit there and just lose around, like Chito Vera, like a Tony Ferd, like Poliana Viana. These people are way more inclined to just get taken down and staying in the guard because they're hoping that they can get something that they have gotten before. So, I love Tabitha Ricci in this fight. I love her to come. This was, like I said earlier, another fight where we've seen this person get kind of bullied in a scenario where they shouldn't have even been in, coming in on a week's notice, a couple days in Tabitha Ricci's case. And she's training with amazing fighters like Mackenzie Dern and that whole gang. So I was high on Tabitha Ricci. I'm high on Tabitha Ricci in her next fight, and I was so happy to see that one. I didn't sweat a bullet during that fight.
Amazing, yeah. Chidi Bang Bang. looked like at first Dusko might be able to get him down, hold him down, keep him down, but I think it was just like it was just two different caliber athletes in there, in the sense that Chidi had that reach, and Dusko is the perfect guy to use it on because he doesn't move his head. He stays on the center line. I was worried at first when I saw him start grappling and I saw him wrap the legs. I thought Dusko looked really proficient, really disciplined, really going for the right sort of game plan to close the distance on the longer guy. But I really thought Chidi looked ready to go. He looks like he's in amazing shape. Looks like he's taking this run super seriously. I love this. I love when you can pick a guy who's been down before and people have already had bad experiences betting on him in one way or another. And then you kind of can see that resurgence in him before everybody else can. And I feel like that's where we've been with Chidi. We've picked him pretty much every time, I think. Actually, I picked against him with Power Bar, but I noted that it was like a very close one, and I was gonna have kind of the same. I was gonna have both guys. I forget how that one exactly went, but I remember being very torn on that one too. So I love seeing this resurgence. Great knockout, fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. At this point, I had restructured after the Omar Morales fight and had one with all the remaining fights on the card. And at this point, hadn't lost one yet, still going strong. And I see Chidi Bang Bang go out there and get that done. That was absolutely fantastic for me. That parlay only would have won me double the money I bet on the night. So it wasn't as juicy as all of the other parlays I had going at that point. But great performance. I wasn't as heavily invested in this one, but I was very impressed with Chidi's groundwork because, as we said before the fight, that's the way people finish him, and that's the way people get it done against Chidi Bang Bang. If you stand up with him, you're in deep, deep trouble. So I was happy to see him go for that Darce. I thought he could have had it. He made just a couple of minor mistakes that led to him not getting it. And I think it's harder to get like those Darce chokes. As somebody with like longer arms, it's kind of hard to get those because your arms are so damn long. You're doing the same technique as everybody else, and it's just not quite tight enough for the other people. But yeah, I love that fight, and I had a very tough decision, ladies and gentlemen, right before this Michel Pereira fight, where I could have walked away with, I think, $350 on the $50 bet. So I'm up $300, but I have that big bad boy Michel Pereira coming in after the Chidi Bang Bang. And I had a whole fight to think about it. And I said, I've left my nuts on the table and gotten them smashed with a hammer so many times that it can't always happen. You know what I mean?
Especially back-to-back weekends, but that's why I played mine a little bit more conservatively. So at this point, after Chidi wins, that we have just one more leg. Hold on.
Give me 1 sec.
Yeah, do your thing. So yeah, at this point, we just need we hit the Triple P certified parlay. Can you? Oh, hold on. Let me pull this in. Okay, so at this point, guys, the Triple P certified parlay hits with Chidi, and that's a $10 bet to win 60. So as you can see, I bet 10, 20, 40, 50, 75. So now we're down $15 on the night with this parlay active, which is Hughes, Hooper, Martinez, Holmes, Park, Chidi, Pereira, and Holm. They were all for me a 600 cash out for that one. And this alternate universe one right here, they're offering me Hughes, Hooper, Martinez, Medic, Holmes, Park, Chidi, and Pereira. This only has Pereira left, and they're offering me $680 for that one. So at this point, I go, all right, that's $2,400 in total profits if Holm and Pereira win. But if Pereira loses, I insure at least $600 on the night on $75 out. So I won I cashed out for $682 or something like that of this one, the alt universe one. In hindsight, I was a little drunk on the day. I'll be honest with you. In hindsight, I should have cashed out the one on the far right in row F. I should have cashed that one out because I would have gotten $600. And then when Pereira won, I would have won $1,200 on that $10 one. So that would have been $1,800. Instead, I cashed this one out thinking that I would win $2,400 and have this $1,600 one payout because I was pretty high on Holm, even though I picked the arrow on the podcast. I had been swayed towards Holm by that point. At one point, this one was as high up as 1,100 cash out opportunity for Holm. I thought Holm was winning the fight, guys. So I let it ride all the way till the end, and it was a split decision. Holm lost. The same kind of good bounce we got with Park, the same kind of good bounce we got with Pereira. I 8-1 with Holm. If I could go back in time, I would have cashed out the one with Holman in it, let the one with Pereira won. Bada bing, bada boom. Make money on 2 parlays, $1,800 total, 3 times what I actually won this weekend. That's not what happened. That's not how it went. But I'll tell you what, if you believe in guardian angels, my grandmother was a very big gambler, and she passed on, but she lives on because I won just enough to cover the whole catering budget for my daughter's baptism party. Catered an event of 100 people. I'm talking veal, ziti, lasagna, garlic knots, the whole 9. The bill actually came out to $666 even, which is pretty hilarious. $666 on a baptism party, but with the taxes, it pushed it over to about $700. So thank our government for that, making sure I didn't have to pay $666. So yeah, I won like $680 on $75 worth of bets that night. So covered it all.
And you know what? For Lukey, I'm very proud of him for the moment he had where he had 2 bets out. He cashed out on one. He let the other one ride. He let his nuts hang on the table. Personally, I would have definitely taken the one with Michel Pereira because I had 1 leg left, and then the other one was also offering more money. And
I had to make, it
was a split second. The fight was starting.
I had to make a choice, and I had been drinking all day. I had been drinking and smoking cigars all day long. So it was a really fun day.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no.
I wanted to talk about the Michel Pereira fight personally.
Yeah, please do. And again, that was a fight. I was very confident in Michel going into that fight. He's the younger man, but when the moment's hitting you, it's like these guys both look game. They both look ready. They both look good. I thought Pereira won every second of the fight and won the fight handedly. Not as close as people made it out to be, but the guy I was watching the fight with, he was rooting for the old dog. He was like, "Oh, I like this older guy. He's not giving up. He's not quitting. He's getting in his face." And I was like, "Man, these judges are going to be feeling the same way." So go ahead.
So if you see this, Luke scored some points on that one because Michel Pereira is fought an opponent ranked.
Give us a 175 zoom.
175.
Right under view, click that 100% and change it to 1. It's from 100% to 175. Yeah, that works too. Okay, so this is our fantasy league. This is our fantasy league with our own customized scoring system. You can find it in the Discord. All the details are there, including the episode where we drafted these teams. This is my team, and that puts me up because Michel Pereira not only won, but he took on a top 15 opponent, a top 10 opponent, I believe, right? No, top 15.
Top 15. He was 14. So Luke got 2 points for that one. His second win with Michel Pereira this year. I think he's the first fighter of ours to fight twice this year, which is,
and that's why I picked him. I knew he was going to be active. I said he was going to get 4 fights in this year. And it's already May. We're tracking towards 5.
Yeah, you love to see that. So Lukey's really
why I picked him.
Hitting his stride. I think Rafael Fiziev fought this year. No,
I think he's going to be winning all the way up the rankings. I hope he gets.
No, Rafael Fiziev's fight got called off, just like Jerry's too. That stinks.
Dude,
But other than that, I'm still up
Renat,
19 to 6 to 16. Dan's nipping at my heels. But Luke,
right after he fought Brad Riddell in like December or something, and then we did this in January, and I thought he was going to be getting back in there pretty quick.
Yeah, but Luke's on the board again. Adrian Yanez still hasn't fought this year. Did he have to pull out of something, or did I miss something?
We can pull it up later, but anyway. So yeah, the Michel Pereira fight. I mean, what did you think about the performance?
I think this is the one actually where I think that one judge gave what's his face a 30-27, and then it was a 29-28, and then a 29-28.
Yeah. It's not unreasonable. People act like that's the biggest deal in the world.
Yeah.
If every round is close, then yeah, sometimes it works out that way. But I get it.
Yeah. I could have seen this one. I could have seen it happening for sure. Like each round. I thought Michel definitely had the first round. 100% had the first round. I thought there was a slightly. I don't know. Maybe I didn't think 100%. Maybe I thought 75% Michel first round, and then like a 60% chance for Michel in the second round, and then in the last round I was like, that's 50-50. I don't know who's taking this one, but in the first round I kind of knew Michel won. Second round I was less positive, but I was still confident. Third round, I was like, who the hell? You could give it to either of them. One of these guys could win this 30-27. And like, it was one of those fights where you can't necessarily get too mad about that. But I was so happy that Michel Pereira won. it really capped off the weekend. It made it so easy to just give my niece a fat check for her baptism. Love her so much. She deserves it no matter what. But due to the fact that I won so much money, I was like, I'm going to give her triple this. And my mom's like, Alex, no, don't you dare. Don't you dare. You can't give her more than I am. I'm her grandmother. So, that was a funny little back and forth, but I was happy to win. It was a bountiful weekend. I was so pissed Holly Holm didn't win. And guys, to be honest with you, I cashed out my bet that had Michelle Vieira and Holly Holm still left. I only left the $50 bet in, and I put the cash out option on Ponzinibbio to double my money for the night. So at the very least, I walk away with 50 extra bucks, probably 20 extra bucks after all my other bets. So I wouldn't have been happy if I only won 50 bucks, but I knew that no matter what, I was safe. And after that, I didn't put anything on the Holly Holm fight or the Poliana Vieira, Vieira, Ketlin Vieira. What's her name?
Ketlin Vieira, yeah.
Ketlin Vieira. So my girlfriend put some money on Ketlin Vieira, but we both thought at the end of that fight, I had no money on the line. I had no bias. I don't give a fuck about my record here. If I'm winning you money every week, I can go 30%. If I'm giving you locks and you're winning money, I don't care what that percentage says. So after I won the money, I was in a safe spot. I was like, who cares? I just hope my buddy Lukey gets the money tonight. I'm rooting for Holm here. I thought she won. I had no bias on the table, but I thought going into the fifth round it was tied, and Holly Holm definitely won.
So did I, and so did everybody I was watching the fight with. And then everybody also thought Holly won the fifth round. And
I thought there was an argument that she could have won one of the other rounds before, and that it couldn't have been tied, and that Holly might have been up 3-1. Yeah. I thought that it was either tied or Holly was up 3-1. I didn't think it was anything else. And I didn't think there was a chance Ketlin Vieira won the last round.
Yeah, same. I thought so too. And I thought the fact that one judge thought Holly won the fight entirely and two other judges, it was tough. Really, it came down to one of those two judges siding with Holly. I think that they should have. But like I said, it was a joyous weekend. Good to get back on the winning streak. And I did pick Vieira on this podcast. So at the end of the day, I was happy that my record was 9-11. Should have cashed out, being that the fight was so close. Going into round 5, I think I had like $1,100 out of that $1,600 payout cash out opportunity there. So that's another, could have doubled my winnings right there. But it is what it is. I hope you took it. if you tailed me, I hope you took it. But at least, if you weren't in the business of cashing out, you took $75 and you turned it into $12.83 on a $10 bet, $174 on a $20 bet, and $60 on a $10 bet for a total of $234 plus 100 plus 283 is 400.
And if you tail all of our picks, that's 500, and that's 500 extra. If you tailed my picks and Lukey's picks as well, that's an extra $500 on a $50 bet. I know some of you guys don't have the bankroll I do to be just tossing out $50, $100 bets, but hopefully you'll get there tailing our picks, because that's how I got there.
Alex, how much did you win total?
Last week, I won $500 total from that bet. Probably.
Yeah, so $2,000. If you tailed Alex and I, it's $2,000. If you tailed me, it's about $1,500.
But I rebuild every time one of my fights lose.
17. So yeah, Alex, you're gonna shoot a lot more bullets going Alex's way. But I only bet $75 this past weekend, and was able to turn it into 10 times that, playing very conservative baseball. So, all right, guys, listen. I went keto for 30 days leading up to the baptism. Like I just told you, we got catering, lasagna, penne alla vodka. I'm carb. I'm brain dead from the carbs. You know what I mean? Like, you could probably see it on me. I'm so exhausted. I didn't just have to drink on Sunday. I had to drink on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We had out-of-town guests. We're drinking. We're smoking. We're just celebrating life and eating carbs for the first time in a month. I mean, I'm in a coma right now, a carb coma. But I'm gonna get right by the next Monday's cast. I'm gonna get right. I'm gonna get my mind right. I'm gonna get some good opinions about these fights. But for now, me and Alex are just gonna go speed round. There's 12 fights. We're gonna give you our gut instincts. This is our living high off the hog celebration. Still drunk from the winning on Saturday first takes, but we're going to have to come back and refine some of these. But maybe there's some wisdom within the madness. Maybe there's some wisdom within our relaxed disposition. Maybe we'll be able to get you some good picks, but we'll give you our first takes. And you know that we only give the prelim picks on the Patreon, but we had a special treat for you. We know that everybody's going to be leaving you high and dry with content this week. We know everyone's taking a vacation. At least we're here, guys. You know, I'm limping in. I'm a little exhausted, but we're here. And I didn't call in sick to work today. Not for my real job and not for my real job. And that's this job right here, folks. So I'm going to give you my first takes. I'm going to tell you how I feel from my gut. And we're going to go from top to bottom, main card all the way to the first fight of the night. I feel that's fair to the Patreon audience because Dan's not here anyway. So to get Dan's picks, you're still going to have to tune in next Monday, and you're going to have to tune into the Patreon to get his prelim picks. So to get Alex and I's refined, well-studied picks, you got to tune into the Patreon next week. But we'll give you our first takes, our quick takes. We'll save the in-depth analysis for next week. And by the way, next week we're going to have a legend from the South Jersey scene, a legend from the Mid-Atlantic region. Joe Body Bags Pfeiffer is coming on the podcast. He's bringing his friend Calvin with him. These guys both, I'm gonna not bury the lead here. They've won hundreds of thousands of dollars sports betting. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay, they are very, very good sports bettors. Sometimes you find these people, guys. If you're from the Mid-Atlantic region, if you're from Jersey, you know that these psychopaths exist under every rock and every quarry in New Jersey. You can find some of these people with these legendary tales. And I told them, I said, bring the receipts. Okay, so Joe is coming on the show. You know we like to support all of our local Philly people, and that's who we want to get on this show. You know, more than anything is just straight up Philly people. Like Joe, we got to get. You know, we've had Joe Selecki on the show, and now we're gonna get Joe Pfeiffer on the show. Two Joes, South Jersey Joes, and Joe's gonna give you guys a solid interview. He's gonna tell you who he is, and they're gonna talk a little bit of sports betting, and then we're gonna go down the list and give our picks for the main card, find the prelims and the Patreon. But what do you think, Alex? Oh, I told him about your friend who wrestled him, though, when I spoke with him on the phone. I spoke with Joe on the phone.
What did you say?
I was like, I'm going to have to roast my boy who got his ass pinned by you in high school. And he was, because I said to him, I said, my friend actually wrestled you in high school. He goes, one question, did I win? I was like, yeah, you pinned him. I was like, you pinned him. So we'll have to give Matt a hard time, you know. Once and
Matt will love it.
So I want to get inside the actor's studio of where Joe was at that point in his life when he beat Matt, you know.
And dude, he was down like 7 points at the time, and Matt got just tossed feet to back because Joe used to do judo.
Yeah,
we knew that going into the matchup. And Matt was like, I just can't go into any big throws. I can't get big thrown. And he was doing really well in the beginning, and then whoop, just like that. Escalated very quickly.
As you saw, Andre Petrosky had him in his corner, and he hit a huge underdog start to my night last weekend. Picked Andre as an underdog. Knew when Joe was in the corner, it was Kismet. Knew it was destiny, and it was, you know. And they're doing big things out there in Philly right now with Sean Brady and Joe Pfeiffer and all these guys. Pat Sabatini, Andre Petrosky. Shout out to all these guys. And let's go speed round, top to bottom. You know, we got Alexander Volkov versus Jairzino Rozenstruik. And it's going to take place June 4th. It's a Saturday, June 4th. Not this Saturday, but next at the Apex. UFC Vegas, 50-something or other. We got 12 fights. A classic. I love when it's 12. That's how we started. They only let you do 12-fight parlays on DraftKings when we first started the podcast 2 years ago. So we couldn't do these 13, 14, 15-leg parlays. We could only do up to 12. And I like when it's a 12-fight card. It feels like that's ready, aim, fire. So
classic Triple P card.
A classic parlay. So I feel like it's more possible than ever. I mean, we're hot right now, and we got these guys, Jairzino Rozenstruik, biggie boy from Suriname, coming in there against the big Russian, Alexander Drago Volkov from Moscow, 33-year-old versus the 34-year-old, both coming off losses. They're both those big heavyweights that don't need to cut weight. You know, like Volkov weighs in at 253, Rozenstruik 257, perfect size heavyweight, if you ask me. You know, you got 6'7" versus 6'2", 80-inch reach versus 78-inch reach. Yeah, Biggie Boy's 6'2", but he's got that long reach. American Top Team, baby. That's where he's coming out of now. He's bounced around a little bit and settled from Suriname to Coconut Creek, going in there from American Top Team. Coming off that loss to Curtis Blades, unanimous decision last September. And Volkov obviously got ripped apart for the first time, submitted by Tom Aspinall, the boy. Really, you know, it's like, what do we got to say about that fight? It's like Tom Aspinall, he's the hot new thing on the block, but he did something that's never been done to a guy in 50 fights, you know? So, have we seen the last of the dangerous Volkov that knocked out Overeem and looked like he was a freaking giant from the lands north? Like, or are we gonna see him go out there and just absolutely outclass Jairzino, who I think, you know, with only 15 fights professionally, yeah, he's got 90 kickboxing fights. Is it gonna be enough experience to get it over on a guy as seasoned as Volkov, coming off a loss? You know, dangerous place to be.
Yeah, I love Biggie Boy, but I got to go with Volkov here. I think that he's the more seasoned guy. He has a better roundedness to his game. Jairzino looked good in his last outing, but I mean, he looked good against Curtis Blades, even though he lost. He looked good against Augusta Sakai. He looked decent against Cyril Gane. He looked really good against Alistair Overeem. I mean, actually, he looked terrible until he knocked him out. But yeah, I'm going with Volkov. Volkov for sure.
Yeah, it's a hard one. You know, I wanted to do a speed round, but as I'm looking at it, I'm like, who knows? I mean, there's just so many equals in this matchup, right? It's like you want to be able to say that Rozenstruik's the younger guy. He's not really the younger guy. You know what I mean? He's just newer to the game, which you know is not an advantage, right? That's not an advantage. So, but I just think that at least Volkov's going to fight the fight that Rozenstruik wants to fight. That's the biggest advantage, I think, for Rozenstruik going in, is that he can finally let his hair down. He can finally say, you know, I'm not going to have to worry about getting put on my ass and taken down. But Volkov could want to kind of like Tyson Fury him and like lean on him and whap him and against the cage and stuff, you know, and like kind of like.
But it could be a Derek Lewis versus Volkov fight where Volkov controls the whole fight and just gets knocked out. Like that's the thing that really concerns me. Just like our boy Alistair Overeem did, you know.
I'm trying to find odds on this. I don't know. I mean, I don't see any right now, but Tapology has 70% Volkov. So it's tough, man. I feel bad and dirty, but I'm just wanting to pick Rozenstruik. I don't know why. It's like my everything. It feels like if I was piloting Volkov in UFC, the video game, I could beat Rozenstruik, right? Like it feels like I would be able. I feel like Matt. It's a heavyweight fight. It's not like Rozenstruik's that much faster. And he's going to have the physical disadvantages not being 6'7" and, you know, having to punch up and having to wade in and having the reach disadvantage. So I feel like Volkov has everything he needs to win this fight. Could hit him with uppercuts, could knock him out with a kick, could really damage him with kicks, could just stay on the outside and jab him. I feel like he could win it in so many ways. But for some reason, at the end of the day, I just feel like Biggie Boy gets the win. I don't know why. Kind of like with the Overeem situation, right? It's like I just feel like at the end of it all, it's him getting his hand raised and Volkov just getting his gloves taken off in disappointment. So you'll have to see if that sticks. I'm going to have to watch some interviews. I'm going to have to see how their mentality is. You know, he's a Russian. He's coming off a loss. He's going to be, you know, looking to right that ship. He's definitely embarrassed about that Tom Aspinall fight. So he's going to be a dangerous Volkov. But I don't know. For some reason, I just feel like it's going to be the style fight Biggie Boy wants for the first time in his career, you know, coming off that Curtis Blades fight. And he's going to oblige and knock his ass out maybe. I don't know.
Luke. Look, why is Joe Selecki not on the podcast right now?
Right now?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you mean? We didn't know Dan wasn't going to be on it until like an hour ago.
Did you know Joe Selecki was fighting this weekend or next weekend?
Well, that's exactly why I wouldn't bother him. We'll have him on after. Last time we had him on before we was taking on Flash Gordon, and then he lost.
I don't believe in superstition. My mom came downstairs during the last fight, the Michelle Behera fight, and she's like, "Oh, I got to go back upstairs. I haven't been down here for any of the fights, and this is the last fight on your parlay." And I was like, "Yeah, go back upstairs." I was like, "Yeah, go back upstairs." Because if you believe in that bullshit, then don't bring your hexes around me with your voodoo Your
I
voodoo.
do believe in that bullshit though. I would have appreciated that because I don't like when people ask me how I'm doing and as I'm going.
But I do say that. But my girlfriend was in the kitchen preparing some delicious food for us, and the second she left, Iron Turtle stopped getting held against the fence and was popping Eric Anders a million times in a row. And I'm like, stay out there, stay out there. Do not come back in this room. You are a hex. You're voodoo woman. Black magic woman. I don't want you around.
Yeah, but then I take personal solace and comfort when I just say to myself, "Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be." I already made the selection. There's actually more power in that because it's like I already made the selection and nobody can stop this train now. It's like if these things happen, I win. And if nobody can it's a contract, you know what I mean? I already made
Except for Yurdos Medic. That's the only thing that can stop it. That's the only thing that can stop my selections, all right?
See, I faded myself there. Like I twice on that on my win, twice I go, okay, here's where I'm biased and here's where I'm gonna lose. And I was like, boom, boom, and I managed to pick it. Now I faded myself up with Holly Holm and lost. I should have known, I guess, that she was gonna win in a robbery. That's the thing that you have to take into account in MMA. It's like every week we're all talking about robberies, surprise knockouts, surprise come from behind victories. This happens every week. Yet every week we go in saying, this is what's supposed to happen, and this is the way it's going to be, and this is how.
No, because we will pick underdogs. We'll pick underdogs. We just pick the wrong ones. We just pick the wrong ones.
Not just us. I'm saying
yeah.
All of the fans go into every week like, no, of course it's going to happen just like this. And
like anybody who took Parker Porter is in my graveyard. I'm not taking any of your bets. I don't care how many units you're up this week. I don't care how many units you're up. You took Parker Porter.
Yeah, against Johnson Almeida. Like Dan, that was the Chase Sherman, Alexander Volkov.
Wait, Dan took Parker Porter?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's why Dan actually.
I was about to crucify somebody who's not on this podcast, but now.
Well, Dan went 6 out of 11 last night, so just above 50%, which to some people might sound like it's pretty good. That's not what we.
And that's why he's calling into work sick, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't want to face the noise. He doesn't want to face the noise this week.
But I will say, at least Dan was right enough to help us with the 100% Triple certified picks ratio this year. He was right where he was right, and 13 out of 22.
No, he listened to us sometimes, and he should listen to us all the time.
But he convinced me for Ricci, so I owe him that.
Amen.
Right, Dan finished year 2 59%, and Dan is currently, after only 2 events in year 3, at 59%. Consistency
is all you can ask for.
Hey, whether you're winning or losing or remaining consistent, the most important is consistency, because if people say, hey, you lose all the time, why would I take your picks? Well, then if I lose all the time, bet against me every time, and then you cracked the code. You figured it out. You found the Rosetta Stone. It's me. If I was 0 for 12 on any of these events, I think it's just as rewarding as being 12 and 12. You know what I mean? I think for me, that would be a stain on my name.
No, because regardless, there's enough people who hate us out here who are going to go against every single one of our picks. So I'm winning someone money. I'm winning somebody money.
I think after 2 years, and I think after 2 years and 100 events, I'm pretty sure there's less than 10 events of those 100 that I've even gone less than 50% on.
Yeah.
And if I can pull that data actually up, but because I know year 1, I have right here actually, year 1, the year 1 record, it was 40 out of 48 events above 50%, and I know year 2 was better. So that means that I think we're. So let's go down the line. Let's make these a little bit faster. Just gut picks, easy. Co-main event: Dan Ige versus Movsar Evolve. It's Movsar Evolve. He's going to remain undefeated, 16-0.
Evolve, no doubt. He hasn't been beaten yet. 50K Ige is not going to do it, and it's not going to be a 50K performance this night. I'll tell you that much.
He's going to ride him like a pony. Poliana Botelho versus Karine Silva. Don't know too much about Karine Silva, number 2 woman out of Brazil, apparently, though. And it's a 125-pound fight. She's taking on Poliana Botelho. You know, I mean, my gut reaction is Poliana, but that's completely biased. And that's just based on the fact that I don't know too much about this lady yet. She's coming off a split decision to Dread the Pirate Roberts. Before that, she lost to Jillian Robertson. She's going to win against
Dread the Pirate Roberts?
No, it's Luana Carolina, but her nickname's Dread, so I call her Dread, the Dread Pirate Roberts. But Killer Karen, she's coming into the UFC off the Contender Series. So if you're telling me this girl is coming in with all this surging energy for the last year, and she was in the Contender Series, and she's taking on Poliana Botelho, it's Poliana's fight to lose, it seems, right? Like, this is a fight she should win. She should stop this person at the door, because why, Alex? Debutantes lose how many times out of 10?
59% of the time.
Yeah, they lose 59% of the time. No, 61% of the time, right?
No.
59? Okay. So, yeah. So, I think maybe we just do the Contender Series fade and take
fighters coming off of a 20-week layoff lose 61% of the time, if my memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, and Botelho at least was in there back in October. So, it's less than a year ago. That's not Botelho. That's Karine.
Karine.
Here. So, okay. So it's been a year. All right. Let's go with, let's roll the dice. Let's go with the newcomer from the Contender Series, Karine Silva, to beat.
Yeah, I think it's Silva all day. These girls are coming out of like a similar scene where they've fought in similar local scenes. Karine's 14-4. I was thinking of Erin Blanchfield. Sorry. Karine, they're coming from similar places in terms of they're fighting in the same regional scene. Karine is a younger, more experienced woman. She has 18 fights where Poliana has 12. So I'm going with Karine here. She has a better record with more fights, so I'm way more confident in her.
Love it. When I saw James Krause in the corner of Ugly Man Joe, I knew that we were good. Even though Action Man Chris Curtis was in the corner of Amador.
Who's Curtis Jackson?
Chris Curtis.
Curtis Jackson, isn't that 50
Chris
Cent?
Jackson, 50 Cent. That's 50 Cent. I'm mixing up Action Jackson, Action Bronson, Curtis Jackson, and Chris Curtis. It's creating a lot of conflict in my brain right now. It's
7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, right? Or 6 degrees of
the
Kevin
Action
Bacon.
Man. So I think of Action Bronson, and then I think of 50 Cent because they're both connected through rap, and then it just connects. It's too much. But Chris Curtis does watch the show, and I will say thank you for watching the show, Chris Curtis. I love you. I picked.
Does he?
He commented one time. He was like, "Yeah, I love when people doubt me," and I'm like, "I picked."
I doubted the Action Man. I never will.
You gave all props. You were like, "Listen, I respect him. I think he's good. Blah blah blah." But I'm just gonna have to. You were like, "It's tough. It's a tough one." But I think you should go back and watch that because we were very praised. We praised him a lot, and I remember watching him knock out Phil Halls. I remember watching that in Costa Rica, having a great old time with the grasshoppers.
But Curtis, you got to understand, or Chris, you got to understand that. Now Luke's getting me fucked up. In the game right now. Chris, you got to understand, I've watched Phil Halls a lot longer than I've watched you, and I love Phil Halls too. I love both of you guys. Like it was a conflicted pick. It wasn't the easiest pick I've ever made in my life, but there's a gun to my head every week from these people on Patreon. They're like, you need to make a pick. I'm like, can I take the over or under? They're like, no, you got to pick a single fighter. I'm sorry, Curtis. Chris Curtis.
I don't think he was talking about the Phil Halls fight, Alex. I think you might have actually picked. I think that he was talking about the Brendan Allen fight, which I was very surprised that you picked Brendan Allen.
I'm huge on Brendan Allen. Too.
We've been big on Brendan.
It was Chris Curtis's first fight in the UFC. Luke. What am I to do?
Well, I told you what to do. I said this guy trains with Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland wrote the blueprint how to break up Brendan Allen, and he's going to do the same thing.
Yeah, Brendan Allen's chinny. But I digest. Luke, take this one away. I got to take another tinkle. I'm so sorry, guys. I've worked the last 12 hours. Okay, I've been working.
It's easy. It's a gut pick. Jeff Molina. I'll say the whole reason I mentioned James Krause from the get go was because James Krause is going to be in Jeff Molina's corner, I believe, and I love that in this fight against Zalgas because as long as Jeff Molina can have a good game plan, he's going to get the win here. Zalgas can get a little reckless. He can get a little fired up. He can get a little, tense in there. So I think that Molina could be the guy to really dance around him for 3 rounds. Bop, 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 bop. Just completely dancing on this guy. I think he's going to absolutely dot him up. He's going to put the red beam on his forehead and pull the trigger 100,000 times. Zalgas won't go down. He'll eat that shit all fight long. He'll be bloodied up. And it's going to keep you on the edge of your seat. But I got Jeff Molina here. Zalgas has been fucking me, man. He did come into the last fight. I picked against him. He got the win. He keeps it close. He's on a new path. He's a warrior. He's an absolute beast. Like I don't get it. Let me check out who was Zalgas' last fight. 'Cause I remember having a really bad taste in my mouth after he got that win, and I picked against him. Let me see who was it. it was like I said, guys, zero brain cells left after this week. Manel Kape, he lost to Manel Kape. Before that, he beat Jerome Rivera. I think that's what it must have been. He standing guillotined him in round 1. I think I picked Jerome Rivera because I was like, you know what, Jerome Rivera, he's got, he had a lot of high expectations. Yeah, he got knocked out.
You're his biggest fan, Jerome Rivera. You're
Dude,
Jerome
I've
Rivera's
picked him a
biggest
lot.
fan.
Yeah. I've tried getting him as a big underdog many a times here. I thought, and haven't. He's 0-4 in his last 4 coming off the Contender Series. If you ever want to make a case for the Contender Series fade, Jerome Rivera will make that case for you. But Zocco is coming in here after getting knocked out by Manel Kape. That's right. Jeff Molina, I think, can do everything Manel Kape can do. And I think he, fucks up Zalgas. What do you think, Lance?
Yeah, I wanted to take Zalgas because I've been big on Zalgas for a while, but you got to watch the tape. My eyes lie to me all the time, and I thought they did the first few times. I've been on Triple Z for a while, but today's the day I change my stripes. A tiger doesn't change his stripes. This tiger does. I'm taking Jeff Molina, out of Glory MMA. We talked about James Krause. I kind of fade James Krause every now and then. The only thing I'm worried about out of any Glory MMA fighter is their gas tank, but you don't see that too often with a 125er. So Jeff Molina is going to go out there and get it done. He's learned all the techniques, and he has the physical prowess to be able to last for 3 5-minute rounds in the UFC. Unlike a lot of people coming out of Glory MMA, I think Jeff Molina gets it done.
Okay, nice. So we'll double P certify Jeff Molina. I think Bittman has him in his fantasy team. You can check that out. But Ode Osbourne taking on Zarrukh Adashev. Zarrukh Adashev, man, this guy, he should have really got some more experience before coming to the UFC because it's not looking good. Record of 4-3. You're no Mark Hunt, you're no BJ Penn with 16-16 or whatever he finished out with. When you're 4-4, it's a bad look. And to have like a record like Jake Paul or fucking Conor McGregor in boxing when you're in the UFC, it's like you're coming in here 4-4. It's going to be 4-4 and out the door. Ode Osbourne's going to be the one to do it. Ode is going to give him his 4th loss. Yeah, it's Ode Osbourne.
Yeah, this is tough for me because Ode Osbourne has been knocked out by, I think, Brian Boone Callagher, or he got clubbed and subbed. Not that I'm low on Brian Kelleher. It's just that was Ode Osbourne's coming to reality moment where he was on the McGregor card. He wanted to make a big splash. He got finished in the first round. So this is a fight night. It's on a lower seed. And yeah, he did come out and whoop up on CJ Vergara.
CJ Vergara is good too, and that was a good fight for Ode coming off that Manel Kape knockout. He looked really good in the Manel Kape fight. They had a big press story about him being a teacher and stuff, and they were really giving Ode his moments going into that Kape fight. It was going to be an opportunity for him to kind of propel himself, pay-per-view card, a lot of eyeballs, and to kind of. And he's getting these. He just came off another pay-per-view. Usman versus Covington too. So yeah, I think he's a guy they want to succeed here. And I think Adashev is expendable.
Yeah, I agree, and that's what led me to take Ode. Although I do think that Zarrukh is the more experienced striker because although he has a 4-3 record in MMA, he has a very esteemed kickboxing background. I think he has over 100 fights or something like that. But I think Ode is somebody they want to build. Zarrukh, he has a blemish record, losing to Tyson Nam, losing to the Iron Eagle. Is that the Iron Eagle? No, not the Iron Eagle.
Sumadurgi.
The Tibetan Eagle. Yeah, the Tibetan Eagle, the Sumajuri. Which, no shame in losing to Sumajuri, especially by unanimous decision. But something about this, I have to take Ode Osbourne, who I believe beat Clayton Rodriguez, who is going to fight this guy, who was supposed to fight Zarrukh. Actually, oh, no. Never mind. I'm tripping. Who fought Clayton Rodriguez? Somebody who we were just talking about. I don't know. Oh, CJ Varga. He fought Clayton Rodriguez. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going with Ode Osbourne. Sorry.
No worries here. Andres Michailidis versus Renat. This guy is Gladiator Renat Fakhretdinov. I'm going with Renat all day, man. This guy's quietly putting together a 20-2 record by the time he's 30. There's relatively no information on him in Tapology. He's coming out of nowhere, ranked 50 out of 600 Russian pro middleweights. And, I mean, get real, he's going to destroy Andres Michailidis. Andre Michailidis has lost to a lot of guys who aren't really up to the snuff in UFC, like Modestas Bukauskas and, Pereira was able to knock this guy out in the second round last time they fought. I don't really give him any credit for the KB Bhullar win because it's a decision, and KB Bhullar is not really, in my opinion, like UFC caliber. So, yeah, it's the unknown Russian making his debut or whatever.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to go with the hardest name to say. The Greeks, the only thing they've ever done good for the entire world is Greco-Roman wrestling, which is the worst form of wrestling to watch. But we're going
columns?
with
What about columns? Shut the hell up, Greeks. They've done a lot of good.
Oh, columns.
Feta cheese, olives.
Alexander the Great.
Yeah, don't ever disrespect the Greeks like that again.
Well, Greece is in shambles right now, so I will disrespect.
Their economy's in shambles. That is true, but that's not. That's they have really nice oceanfront property. You know what I mean? They have great oceanfront property. They have great.
No, Greece is beautiful. Greece is one of the most beautiful places you can visit. But living in such a beautiful place, there's a lot to do. I don't think Andreas Michailidis has the Midas touch here. I think that he gets Midas touched by the guy with the harder name, and sometimes you just got to go with the guy who you can't even pronounce his name, and that's Renat Fakhretdinov.
Yeah. Next, we got Erin, cold-blooded Blanchfield. To me, it's Erin Blanchfield in this fight. I just think she's going to have a little bit more. Look at her strength of schedule. Kay Hansen in Invicta, Tracy Ortiz in Invicta. She beats Miranda Maverick late last year. Now she's taking on JJ, and she's got a tiny head. Trains at elevation. Hasn't fought just fought in March against Jillian Robertson, which is fine. You know what I mean? But I'm looking at her strength of schedule. She's lost when she's been tested. Lost to Mazzo. Lost to Macy Barber. To me, Erin Blanchfield's more like a Macy Barber type. And, I just think JJ Aldrich has kind of already shown us where her top ceiling is, right? Lost to Pennington. Yeah, it was her second fight ever. Lost to Ostovich. Lost to Barber, Mazzo. And, yeah, she's putting together 3 wins, but split decision against Courtney Casey, unanimous decision against Vanessa Demopoulos, unanimous decision against Jillian Robertson. She should be able to get those people out of there. You know what I mean? Or at least keep it from being a split decision. That being said, listen, it's women's MMA. Take the over, take the distance. I don't know who's going to win this one. It's anybody's guess.
Dude, what the fuck happened to Tatiana Suarez?
I don't know.
8-0, one of the best women fighters to do it so far in such an early career. Like, you would think that she goes out there and ragdolls everybody in the division once she sees Juliana Pena wins a belt. But because I think Tatiana Suarez is a better version of Juliana Pena, in my opinion. She's way tougher. She beat cancer, dude. If you can beat up cancer, you can beat up any person. But
speed round. Don't waste so much time on this women's fight. Yeah.
Sorry. Erin Blanchfield. JJ Aldrich lost to Miranda Maverick, who is pretty much Macy Barber lower level. So I'm going with Erin Blanchfield.
Yeah, double P certified Erin Blanchfield. Mike Trizano out of New Jersey taking on Lucas Almeida. Early thoughts, taking Mike Trizano. I liked his loss. I liked the way that he lost to, who was it? Was it Juicy J? Is that who I'm thinking of? I'm waiting until the Tapology pulls this up. It's
he came to Wadu and Grant Dawson.
Why did I think this guy fought Juicy J?
I don't know.
All right, either way. Lost to Grant Dawson, no shame there. Lost to Hakeem Dawadu, no shame there. Won against Ludwig Klein. I remember that fight now. That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah, big barn-burning fight. Beats Ludwig Klein. I think that he can do good work here coming off a loss. I think you're going to get a good Mike Trizano. He's the younger guy, right? This guy's 31. How old's Trizano? He's in his 20s, right?
Yeah.
This guy, he's coming off the Contender Series. His debut. He lost his Contender Series fight pretty sure he's taking this one on short notice. He's coming off a win in jungle fight, first round guillotine. Let's see. Yeah, nah, this is not a short notice fight, but I'm gonna go with Trizano here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Trizano. You know, you look at these guys, you think that the other guy has the more experience. Trizano was on the Ultimate Fighter. None of those fights counted toward his record. Granted, that was the weakest season of the Ultimate Fighter maybe ever. I don't think any of them are still in the UFC besides Mike Trizano. I'm going Mike Trizano. He really impressed me in the Hakeem Dawodu fight. I thought that was 29-28, and it went either way, in my opinion. I don't understand how that one's a unanimous decision and some are split that are a lot less close. But I'm going Mike Jairzino, the Lone Wolf, Tiger Schulman's, not Tiger Muay Thai.
Okay, so actually they're about the same age.
Yeah, 30 and 31.
This guy is making his UFC debut. Will Mike Trizano hold the line? You know, I don't know too much about this guy, Lucas Almeida. I know he lost in the Contender Series. I know that like this is his debut. I don't recognize a lot of the people he fought, and you know he lost. It must have been a robbery in the decision loss in the Contender Series. I didn't see that fight, but it must have been if that's you know, because then they probably just told him, look, just go get one more win and then we'll get you back in. So, and this it doesn't even seem like it's a short notice opportunity. So, this guy could be a stud. Maybe we go back and watch the Contender Series fight and report back next Monday.
Perfect.
Sweet. So what do we got here?
Next one, I'm taking Benoit Saint-Denis. I think that's the pick here. Although the Germans are a harder people, Alesiu Zaleski is a beast, and we've seen that in his last few fights. Whether it be like during the whole COVID era, he kind of impressed us, beating younger guys. The only one he lost to was 2019, Ji Liang, and then Muslim Salikov. But I'm going with Benoit Saint-Denis here.
Well, if you remember that Zaleski fight, he was fighting for his life. The ref didn't stop it. Everybody was super disgusted by the fact that they didn't stop it. This guy is a French Special Forces agent. He's like a Green Beret or some shit, French equivalent. So all respect to that. He's a complete badass inside and outside of the octagon. And yeah, he took a bludgeoning by Zaleski, but he went into survival mode, stayed in there, and even was kind of doing some retaliatory damage as late as the third round. He's got a heart of steel. He's gonna fucking show everybody what he wanted to show everybody last time. He doesn't need to show everybody's heart, but I think he wants to show everybody's skill. He's going to go in there and I think demolish Stolze. I think he knocked Stolze out. All right, then we got Jersey Joe, right?
Jersey Joe Selecki, baby.
Taking on De Silva, right?
Andre? Alex De Silva. Who's 21-3, has a very extensive.
Drew's been on the show twice, but we can be as objective as possible breaking this fight down.
This guy is a soldier, dude. He's absolutely experienced. He fought Brad Riddell, Rodrigo Vargas, Alexander Yaliklev in the UFC. So he's been in the UFC for at least the last 3 years. He's a bit of a beast. He has 24 fights, 21-3. He's only 26 years old, so I think he's a little younger than Joe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Joe's 28, so he's a little younger than Joe, but Joe has this. He has the more intensive UFC experience with much bigger names in the UFC, but Alex Silva has the veteranship. Luke, what do you think with Lex Lico here?
Well, I mean, I think he's got a lot of fights against guys that don't have a ton of criteria and have never won a fight. He's got, he didn't really start fighting anybody good until 2016. When he finally got matched up with somebody who, had an equal record as him. But then you got to ask yourself, is the guy who's, when he's 17-0 facing the 16-7 guys, the guy who's got 16 wins, are those 16 bullshit wins? You know what I mean? So you keep going, and the first time
they are 6-8, 0-1, 0-4, 3-4, 4-1, 0-0, 3-3, 0-3, 0-0, and then we don't even have information on 7.
He gets his first opportunity in the UFC, gets choked out by a guy that I guarantee nobody listening to this show has ever heard of, Alexander Yakovlev. Wins against Rodrigo Vargas, and then loses to Brad Riddell, unanimous decision. You got to wonder. I think that Joe Solecki could submit him. I think that over the distance, Joe Solecki has him in round 3. I think we might see sort of like a Joe Solecki versus Jim Miller type fight where Joe's content to ride this one out into a decision, and rather than putting himself at risk of getting swept or something like that, because he's a young, dangerous guy. I think Joe looks to just completely drain his cardio in round 1 and go on to win the fight in the distance. Really getting the ring time in there, shaking off that loss to Jared Gordon. And I think he just looks to control more of the moments and not leave this one up to the judges. So give me Joe Solecki and the over.
Yeah, the guy he lost to is 3-6. 3-6 in the UFC. But he did defeat Paul Daly before that. But we've seen there's holes in Paul Daly's game for sure. That's the biggest name he's ever beaten. Yeah, he's fought Kamaru Usman and Damian Maia. Tough draws, but he's also lost to guys like Zach Cummins and Nico Musko. Roosevelt Roberts, and this is Alexander Yakovlev that we're talking about. So I'm going with Joe. I'm going with Smoking Joe Solecki. I don't think he has a nickname, but if he doesn't go with Smoking Joe, if he doesn't start the Smoking Joe train, I'll start it for him. Smoking Joe Solecki is going to go out there and get it done. The Philly boy, Philly dog, salty dog, rise fast.
Yeah, it's going to have to be this is a stand. You know what I mean? You got a guy coming into the UFC, another young gun who's looking to get together his first few wins. Joe's got to take a stand right here and just show him.
Had a draw against Gregory Rodriguez in a grappling match, dude.
Yeah, that was.
Do you know how big Robamacop is?
The quintet thing, yeah.
Yeah, Robamacop is huge, dude. He cuts down to get to 185, just like he's fighting at 155.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like Joe was holding his own and like winning moments in that fight.
Winning moments. If it wasn't sub only, he would have won that, like based on advantage and yada yada yada.
So all respect to Fortis MMA, but I'm gonna have to pick against Alonzo Menafield because this guy that he's fighting, you look into him and he's got a 32 fight career, which is almost triple what Menafield's been able to put together. He's got bare knuckle boxing experience. He's coming out of the Ukraine. You know, the UFC's gotta want this Ukrainian guy to get a win for the hearts of the Disney audiences around the world. 27-year-old.
Wait, Disney wouldn't even let Ukraine even put their flag in the fucking John, dude. What are you talking about?
Well, I think that's more to keep the Russian flags out than it is to keep the Ukrainian flags out. You know what I mean? I think they're trying to say no flags so that nobody brings in Russian. Like, there's probably 2 Ukrainian fighters compared to 36 Russian fighters. It'd be a fucking Russian state-sponsored event every single week if they had that happening. That being said, I think everybody should be able to have whatever flag they fucking want. You know, give me the,
Hong Kong, baby.
Well, whatever. I'm just saying, like, a lot of these guys, it's not, there's nothing. They have nothing to do with the decisions of their leader. But let's just move on. We got No Mercy coming out of AKA Thailand. I like everything I see out of this guy. It looks like he's ate steroids every day of his life for breakfast. It looks like that. I say that as a compliment. I'm not saying that he's on steroids. I'm saying that to me, it looks like he's a bodybuilder. He looks like he's taken the very special Thailand coconuts and putting them everywhere to get the big old coconuts on the arms. And I love it. I'm libertarian when it comes to drugs in the UFC. I think you should be able to take whatever you want. So ban USADA, defund USADA, 2023. All right. So yeah, we got.
But you would think a guy on the juice wouldn't have to withdraw from 3 fights in a row unless he's dodging a drug test. So, I mean.
Well, I don't think the Rothwell one we can fault him for because the Rothwell one, Rothwell asked for a release and was granted it, and that seems like that was supposed to take place last.
No, Mazarov withdrew.
Oh, I see. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay, I see.
So he withdrew.
That was last year. Yeah, that was last year.
Visa issues. Yeah, 2020.
Yeah. Come on. I don't. Anybody pulling out of fights nowadays, I do not discredit in any way.
But there's an injury, and then there's a withdrawal in August of last year. So. At this point, I'm kind of thinking this guy might be a pull-out merchant. Yeah, he's
like
no
mercy.
mercy.
You like OSP though. It's weird. I don't understand.
I don't like Menafield. I love OSP. Do not ever compare anybody to OSP, Luke. Please, because I'll go bonkers. I love OSP. I would die for OSP. Okay,
the reality
I'll die on that hill all the time. And this guy lost to OSP. My guy, OSP knocked him the hell out. He lost to Devin Clark. He lost to William Knight. I'm not confident in Alonzo Menafield, but he has tough experience. Dude, Ed Herman isn't going out easy nowadays. Short fuse is going out there, and he thought he won that fight.
Yo, that
Fabio.
No, yeah, he should have fucking finished at Herman. That was bullshit. The fact that he couldn't finish at Herman, that's like not finishing Sam Alvey, dude.
But he beat up on Paul Craig, a guy we're all high on now. Paul Craig, dude. I mean, this is a tough one. I know we're going short circuit here, but we're still way under on time in terms of if you buy the Patreon usually. So I'm going to go with Oscar here against all of my better judgment. I'm gonna ride Lukey here. Lukey's hot right now. I'm gonna ride Lukey, Oscar all day, but this is one of the least confident.
Yeah, wait, maybe you were convincing me that Alonso was going to take this guy down and choke him out.
Like, I don't think Alonso has ever taken anybody down ever. I think he's clubbed and subbed, but I think.
Well, put it this way: there's a short notice opportunity for Askar Movsar Evolve. Alonso was supposed to fight Nick Negamarianu, who's pretty good, but lost to fucking Gerald Mershark, who was
short notice. I'm going Metafield, switching. This guy's pulled out every fight. I guarantee this fight doesn't happen. We have 2 weeks.
Yeah, we have 2 weeks. It's not happening. It'll be a different opponent by next Monday. So make sure you tune in next Monday and make sure you get the Patreon. All right, last fight. We got Tony Gravely, Johnny Munoz Jr. This is such a difficult fight to predict, man, because I feel like we haven't seen the best of Johnny Munoz and we haven't seen the best of Tony Gravely. Tony Gravely looked really good in the first round of his most recent loss. Who was that fight again? It was against Nate Maness. And then in the second round gets finished, but looked amazing in round one. What a fight. Great fight. Then he comes back out against Simon Oliveira, younger, pretty like a stud.
Looked great. Looked great.
Great in that one. But I really like Johnny Munoz Jr. I like what I hear, what I see. I like his youth. So it's a really tough fight for me to pick. I want to kind of see how the training camps are going. If Gravely's putting in that work with American Top Team, that's gonna. I really do think that American Top Team has done some great things with Thiago Alves out there. They've done some really great things. They both lost to Nate Maness, but Munoz didn't get finished. Tough fight for me to call, man. I'm going to take Gravely just with the American Top Team factor.
Gravely. He's lost to Ricky Bandejas, Merab Devashili, Manny Bermudez, who also fought in the UFC, Patchy Mix, who fought in the UFC, Brett Johns, Nate Maness. Yeah. And that Nate Maness fight, everybody knows he was winning that fight the entire time. He got a little too bloodthirsty for Nate, and he got submitted. But, dude, he has almost triple the amount of fights as Johnny Munoz here. I'm going with Tony Gravely all day.
Love it. Word. So let's just run through.
And Johnny's a boxer, dude. Tony Gravely's a wrestler.
Makes sense. So yeah, guys, let's just recap. We came off a huge weekend, $1,200, $2,000 worth of profit on less than a couple $100 worth of bets in the Patreon. We posted those. Go get that at patreon.com/perfectparlaypursuit. Join our Discord. We're chatting there every Saturday. Like I said, I had family in from out of town. I was drinking a lot on Saturday, watching the fights on my laptop. Kind of hard to go back and forth with the Discord, but I tried my best. Thank you very much. Please throw this video a like and a comment. Help this. This is a break week, so we wanted to give you guys this content and just come here and chop it up with you. And we'll be back next Monday, not missing a beat. But we'll run through our picks real quick and just help this video get as much traction as possible. If you got any friends who also sports bet and watch UFC, send them this podcast. And we're almost closing in on 1,000 subscribers. Obviously, that's a giant milestone for any YouTube channel. So we will thank you for helping us grow.
Luke,
what?
Do you think the odds sway at all from fighters who are from states that have legal gambling?
I think that they actually even change odds state to state. Did you know that? I thought that they will give you different odds in different states sometimes.
No way.
Is that true?
That can't be how it works. Not on DraftKings, at least. But then again, I don't even know what casino DraftKings is booked by. Maybe if you're going through BetMGM or something like that, it has to be consistent through the entire country. Because MGM has casinos literally everywhere.
Yeah, I'm just filling out my picks. But I feel you. That is interesting. I mean, if you...
Because I'm looking at Joe Selecki, and he's minus 170 right now, and it's does everybody feel the same way we feel about Joe Solecki, or are we biased? Like, that's what I'm thinking. Like, as a biased guy who has trained in the same gym as Joe Solecki, which I have to leave now, and it burdens me with a heavy heart since I'm moving. Henzo Gracie Poconos, I'm coming your way. But, it burdens me with a heavy heart. But, like, I auto bet Joe Solecki every time he fights,
Yeah. So let's go. That's good that you revealed that bias, but go ahead. List out your picks for me real quick.
So my picks right now: Volkov, Movsar Evolve, Karine Silva, Jeff Molina, O'Day Osbourne, Renat Fakhretdinov, Erin Blanchfield, Mike Trizano, Benoit Saint-Denis, Joe Solecki, Oscar. Ooh, did I take Oscar? I rode Lukey. I'm taking Oscar, but this fight's not happening. Then we're going with Tony Gravely. And if you take all my picks right now, a few of them are... Wait, is this a 12 fight card?
Yeah, it is. Has to be.
Oh, okay. So they're all on. $10 will win you $2,345. That's been pretty consistent for the bets I've had in the last few weeks, give or take $600. But if you join the Patreon, I will 100% give you my lock card of the week. I've been going heavier than usual on those ones, been turning dinner money into not quite rent money, but halfway there. And if you take them every week, you're going to win.
And if you're a Patreon member and you can DM Alex on Instagram, chat up with him, ask him what his picks are for hockey and all those other sports too, and I'm sure I'll give them to you. We're still trying to figure out how to give Alex and Dan administrative access to the Patreon. You literally have to hit a certain tier before they even open that up as an option. So once we get some more members, then we'll be able to do that, or I'll just pay for them to have accounts or whatever so they can interact with you more. I'm running the admin side of the Patreon.
And let me know, because I'm literally only giving it to people who subscribe to the Patreon. I'm not giving my hockey or NBA picks anymore on the Discord. I'm sorry, boys. I'll tell you after they're done.
But yeah, as far as my picks go, let's see. Wow, I can't believe Erin Blanchfield is a -525 favorite.
It's crazy. I was even hesitant taking Erin Blanchfield from the start, and that's definitely going to lead to a solo bet on the other woman, esteemed woman who is fighting her tonight. Or
yeah. Okay. So the dogs that I picked are Rozenstruik +135, and Askar Mozairav +120. So that's just 2 underdogs. A lot of pick'ems, a lot of close lines here, a couple 165s, and a couple big favorites. The biggest one being Blanchfield. Second biggest one makes a little bit more sense is Evolve, and then the third is Renat. So those make a little bit more sense. $10 bet pays $3,350, which would be fantastic. Here are full picks: Biggie Boy, Evolve, Silva, Molina, O'Day Osbourne, Renat, Fakhretdinov, Erin Blanchfield, Mike Trizano, Saint-Denis, Solecki, Askar, and Tony Gravely. And the double P certified picks, man, me and Alex had a lot of similar thinking. Every fight.
I only have one underdog, and it's the same fight as you. We have a couple differentiating.
We picked. We didn't even realize that we agreed with each other the entire card except for the main event.
No, we have a couple different because you have 3 underdogs. I have 1.
Alex, every pick we have is the exact same.
You have 3 underdogs now.
I have 2. Biggie Boy and.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right
now.
All
right. Well, great minds think alike. You went 9 for 11 last week. I went 8 for 11 last week. I guarantee we had a lot of similar picks on those fights. I think. I think that either me or Dan swayed us away from even more triple P success.
Yeah, the only picks we
since you were the most in line with the card.
Yeah, we actually had all the same picks except you picked Elise Reed, dumbass, white belt, silly, and then I picked Colares, but I switched to Hooper with a lot of my parlays, and then you had Holm and I had Vieira, but I switched to Holm, pretty close to the fight. So, anyway, yeah, let's get it, baby. Coming off a great week, I'm glad we're all aligned. Didn't have Dan to muddy our thoughts here. And everybody, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next Monday. And as always,
love you guys. Join the Patreon, especially if you want those NBA and NHL picks. I'm just as up on NBA and NHL as I am on the UFC in the past couple weeks. I'm a playoff hound. I don't bet on the regular season. Too many people sit out. But you want my picks, join the Patreon, join the Discord. And I might be nice to a couple nice fellows, but that's it. Love you guys.
Later.